Good morning! Pretty lights, but no water, because it's getting to be winter. Shame, really. Anywho, let's you and me talk a little bit about teams, IT teams, and team building, and the true challenge of not a project manager necessarily, but a team manager, a team lead, or anybody who's basically in charge of hiring and maintaining a developer team. So now that I've said team 5, 6, 7 times or something like that, let's actually get into the nitty-grittiness of what I'm trying to tell you. So when you start working in IT, or like as a programmer, or in general when you start delivering software, you will, at least I did in the beginning of things, you will feel, well, it kind of also depends on the job you're doing. I mean, if let's say that you start as a consultant, then odds are that you will have the sensation of being kind of put into an environment where you are, once again, depending on the consultant type you are, odds are that you're going to be a little bit isolated to begin with, at least until you get more comfortable, or if you're really lucky and you're put into an environment where you are part of a team. You're going to, as you progress through your career, see that there are different ways of managing teams, and you have different values, and a lot of the time, how well your IT, like your personal, the team you're in, is managed is a reflection of the type of company and the type of value system that company has. Now, I'm not gonna walk you through all of the things, all the possible way. Like, I've been in a few of these, and I've seen how different companies manage and reason about how to compose their team of developers. Some companies are all about, everybody needs to be a super genius and we only hire the best, and they go really hard on the academics and the intelligence level of every team member. And some people say that we only hire senior developers, which means that they're all about how long have you been in the business? Do you have a track record? Some companies, smaller companies, are all about environment. Do you fit in? Like, are you a nice person? So there are many things that are considered, and depending on the company, are going to weigh different amounts depending on on your situation. So it's a tricky topic, and it's a tricky thing to kind of say something definitive about. But what I can tell you is that from my experience, the way that I used to think about, if I just take myself, the way I used to think about things is that the only type of consideration that weighs in the decision, do we hire this person for our team or not, was how good are you at your job. And the funny part is that it actually matters less than I thought. Just hear me out now. I'm not saying that that skill doesn't factor into when you're building a software team. It absolutely factors in. But the thing is that for the most part, what really matters is, are you good enough to not to be able to produce the results? You don't have to be the best at things. You just have to be pretty good. Once again, depending on the company, because some companies actually, I don't know, they have this pride in, we only hire the best. And I kind of honestly, in my experience, the people who say that they only hire the best, they hire the best because they don't put any money towards at all to educating their staff anyway. So they need to hire the best because they don't care about you once you're in, or rather they have no training programs or anything like that. Go figure, right? But back to what I was saying. So the amount of your seniority, junior developers are hired as well, and they are actually hired more on merits such as potential, like how interested are you, how passionate are you, how well are you social enough, do you have. Or maybe if you're really lucky, you might be a junior developer who gets into a company where you're actually a little bit of a senior in some field. Like if you're a really good junior JavaScript developer, odds are that in JavaScript you might be a senior at some company, because most of the senior programmers don't know much about JavaScript. But what does this mean for managing things at a higher level? Well, I will argue that the way that you should think about it when you're hiring staff and you're getting people into the team is that you are laying a jigsaw puzzle. Now, just hear me out now. So what I mean about laying a jigsaw puzzle is that you cannot control, like technically, there is no version of reality where you're going to be able to control what people do as a part of a team. You can only encourage things. And if you think about things in terms of encouragement and likeliness that something will turn out a certain way, and then things kind of become about your ability to get a feel for, like, are you a people person? Do you have what's necessary to kind of judge a person's character? Think about it as seating at a wedding reception, or a party, if you will. If you're inviting 300 guests to a big party, odds are that you're gonna have to think about, the seating arrangement. And why is this important? I actually argue that if we talk about it from the perspective of a wedding, it's actually the most important thing, because if you have a good understanding of all the people who's going to make up your party, then you know what person is going to fit very well with another person. You drop, and that's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, drop this idea of, okay, our company values are this and that and so forth. Think about it from the perspective, okay, if you're hiring think about it from the people perspective. Like, think about it, how do I position people in such a way that they're naturally going to develop and grow as people? So you optimize, that you optimize for office culture, then ideally you want to hire people who are very social and put them close to each other, like put them in the same team. Like, we can talk about my team. Like, I can see that we have different people in the team have different affinities and different personality types, and they fit very well together. I actually have to say that I'm very impressed with how well my manager has put together this team, because the personalities complement each other a lot. Like, we have people who are more on the introvert spectrum, but are extremely good at what they do, and they get stuff done. They really get stuff done and pick up things and do things that are a little bit subtle but are very important. Then you have the loudmouths who talks all the time and tries, does basically all the things that has to do with team building and creating a sensation of security in the environment. Guess which one that is, or guess who that is. And then you have people who are like kind of a nice mellow in between, very calm, relaxing people who is a nice bridge between the introverts and the extremes, introvert social people. So this is me trying to kind of say that it's more difficult to build a good working software development team than you think. If you only consider things such as intelligence and experience and stuff of that nature, it's going to end very badly for you, because what's really the true challenge of a software team, trust me, any programmer, or rather all programmers, will, at a certain experience level, or if they can program, they will produce results. They will produce software. Trust me, they will. However, if you want to get the maximum benefit, especially if you go into DevOps and stuff where your team is responsible to a higher degree for the software that they are producing, it's very important that they work as a team. It's very important that they complement each other, because you're basically trying to build, or in my personal opinion, you want to build the closest thing to a small little family, if you will. Because if you have something like that and you encourage this office culture, the benefits that you will get, not just from like in productivity, but also in innovation. People who are talking to each other, enjoy each other's company, are more likely to actually sit down and like share ideas and have a natural conversation flow. You will find that things flow much easier than if they're really only there for themselves and they really only care about getting their job done. I can only say, I know that you have to kind of take my word for it if you haven't experienced it yourself, but I have firsthand seen how it is when you work in a company where basic people don't really care so much about anything. They kind of just go there to do their thing, and how it is to work in a company where you generally care about the product and especially the people that you are working with. And the differences are massive. It's like two different worlds, trust me.